Well, good morning, folks. Today I'm going to be working on a 1973 Guild D16. It's a D16-M. It's my own personal guitar. I kind of forget the model numbers on these things. I play them so much that I don't really care that much. Today I'm going to be doing a fret job. I'm going to do some polishing, do a little bit of a crown on these guys. Check the guitar for any loose nuts, bolts, washers, things like that. Any rattles. Probably change the battery in the preamp in the guitar. Take a good look at the guitar and make sure that the wood's nice and oiled, and give it a good polish and cleaning up. Here's a good look at the guitar in question. This is again a 1973 Guild. And it is a truly beautiful guitar. It sounds great. This is a mahogany top, mahogany back and sides. Oh, it looks like it's got a bug inside there. And the label has started to peel up off the bottom of that thing with the serial number and date code and model number and all that. I'm going to go ahead and take some glue and stick that back down. I don't want that falling out. But a beautiful Guild guitar. I'm going to get right on this very shortly, so hang in there, and we'll be back. And by the way, I am a luthier and service tech at Grande Stereo and Music. We're down here at 111 First Street in Grande, and this is the kind of work that we do. I treat your guitar as if it were my own. And I want you to play that thing and have it play as beautifully and perfectly as it can for you. So remember that if you're playing a guitar that's a little rough around the edges, if you're not happy with the action or the way the guitar looks, or you're getting squeaks or buzzes or rattles, anything like that, electrical issues, come see me. You can reach us at 541-963-5933. Myself and Stuart Hensley there are both longtime techs and luthiers. Stuart has mojo beyond belief, so don't take it elsewhere. I've worked on guitars that have been worked on at other shops and other places in the city, and those guys have messed up many amps and many guitars that I end up repairing, and it usually ends up costing you more for me to fix what they have messed up. So come see us at Grande Stereo and Music, and we'll get that guitar set up perfectly for you. If we do a setup on a guitar for you, and there's something you don't like, bring it back, and we will take care of that for free. Our prices are very reasonable in our labor. We have specialized tools that are designed to do this kind of work specifically. We don't just use some file we went down to Miller's and bought. These tools are designed for this type of work specifically. So come see us. Again, my name's Marshall. I'll be right back, and I'm going to get to work on this beautiful 1973 Guild acoustic guitar. Hang in there. So before I get started on this guitar, I just kind of wanted to show you a little bit around the edges of this thing. As you can see, it's had a little bit of wear and tear on the corners and edges of this guitar. It's got a little scratch right in this area. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick that. Yeah, now you can kind of see that scratch. I'm not going to be doing any repairs like that. All that I consider personality on my guitar. This happened I don't know, years ago, and I've seen that. But lots of dings. And again, this thing, I've kind of neglected polishing it and cleaning it up because I play it so much that I don't take the time to really do a good cleaning on this. But you can see that, back in here, there's some dings and bumps, and it happens to a guitar. It's kind of like a boat. If you don't have dents in it, you've had it parked in the garage. You haven't been using it. Alright, so before I get started doing anything else, I've removed the strings off the guitar, of course. But I remember the last time I worked on this guitar that the truss rod cover this hole in the back of the truss rod cover where that screw goes through is a little bit worn out. The screw didn't really have any wood right there to get a hold of. So we have a wood shop here that would create tons of sawdust. And I've used some wood glue and sawdust to mend that hole. And we'll let that set up and dry. And now my truss rod cover will have a nice hole for it to drive the screw into and hold it in place really well. So this fretboard hasn't been cleaned for quite some time. So I'm going to get the DNA off this thing. Today we're just going to use some simple grain and a paper towel and a soft rag. This thing's pretty nasty. This is my favorite toothbrush. I use this every morning, and it is an awesome toothbrush. Can't stand working on a dirty guitar. It's no fun. There you go. I'm going to hit this again with some simple green, go over it one more time, brush it in, really make sure to get all that stuff off of there. This is also starting to remove some of the oxidation and material that's sitting on these frets from just sitting in the case or sitting on the wall or being played. Hang in there. So the next process we have here is to check the fretboard for being level. We want to make sure that this fretboard is level before we do any filing on it. That way we know that the fretboard is flat. There's no bow in the neck in this direction or this direction. We have a perfectly flat fretboard. That makes my work a whole lot more accurate. And I believe this is a Gibson scale. This fretboard is perfectly flat without making any adjustment to the truss rod. I just put strings on this and checked the neck relief the last time I worked on this guitar. And it is perfectly flat. I can see that the wood is fairly dry, and I also washed the saddle or the bridge here, and this is dried out too, so we'll hit that with some linseed oil after we do the filing and clean the neck up one more time. But I can see this wood is definitely drying out. I can see a very dry spot right in this area here. So we'll get on that. Hang in there. Oh, and by the way, that's one of the tools that every luthier should have to make sure the neck's flat. I might be the only guy around that owns that. So it's time to start working on these frets, getting these crowns set up on these. You'll notice that I don't have the fretboard taped off like some guys waste their time doing. Okay, now that I've crowned these frets, time to go to work them over with the, today I'm going to start with some 600 grit sandpaper. These things are pretty well tarnished, and I know they haven't been cleaned for quite some time, so we'll hit these guys with some 600 just to knock the guck off of them. And again, having the right tool for the job saves time, which saves you money. Woo! Pretty. Time to move on to the 15. Moving on to the 1500. Now for the big 2000, this is going to put the final nice, beautiful shimmer and smoothness on these frets. And then of course I'll hit it with some Neverdull to polish them up. And this is the point at which I really start to see how beautiful these frets can be. So staying on task. Keep the sandpaper rolling. We'll be done here in just a few minutes. So we're going to let the guitar sit, air out a little bit, let it sit for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'm going to oil this neck with linseed oil. I hope you can see that. Wow. So now that I have all the frets polished, I also gave the body of the guitar a good polish. I believe this guitar was refinished at some point, and it may have gotten wet or something, because I believe the back on this guitar has been replaced. It's a piece of mahogany laminated plywood, and the guitar is extremely heavy. It doesn't seem like that is something that is indicative of what Guild would have been doing back in the day. I don't think that was work done by Guild. I'm going to now dress the fretboard with a little bit of linseed oil. We do a few very small, ooh-wee, that was a bit much, but we'll make it work. I'm going to hit the neck and the bridge of the guitar where the saddles sit. And all we do is just put a very small amount of the material, the oil. It's linseed oil. I don't use boiled linseed oil. It dries them a bit more quickly, is my understanding. I use it in raw form. Just enough to rub it in and rub it off. And again, I hit the bridge down here. Let some of this exposed wood get some of that oil in there to protect it from sweat, grime, grit, moisture, all of those components that will ruin raw wood. And again, we just get enough on there to be able to rub it in, and then wipe the excess off. And that wood just really comes to life when you hit it with this oil. The guitar came to my possession from a friend who purchased the guitar and decided after a while that he didn't want to play anymore. and he offered the guitar to me, and I took it in a promise that I would play it, that I would take care of it, and if he ever wanted it back, all he had to do was ask. I have no television here, no TV, no exposure to the bullshit. Yeah, and I really believe that this guitar was had some major overhaul work done on it at some point in time. I have also glued down, I'm going to show you, give you a little shot of this. I have also glued down the Guild logo on the inside of the guitar. So that's now laying flat in there. I just used a very small amount of wood glue, and I used my finger to smear that around so as to not get a bunch of wood glue all around the decal that's in there. That's the original decal. So it's stuck on there. Used a very minute amount, just enough to hold that piece of paper in place. It looks like the serial number is sorry about that. Take my glasses off. 101620. Have no idea what that means. If there's any significance to the date, if you know anything about that, let me know. I'll do some internet research. I do have Google. I have oiled this fretboard, and you can see that's a really beautiful piece of rosewood that's used on this guitar. And the linseed oil just brings all of that grain and beauty back to life. And the frets are shiny as ever, probably shinier than the day it was made. I'll try and get you a good shot of these frets and how they look. I'm using incandescent light in here. Yes, I do have incandescent light. And here's the saddle after being oiled, and the pickup that's in there. That is a Jerry Cantrell signature pickup that he used, the same pickup that was used on the Alice in Chains MTV Unplugged session. The volume knob goes to 11. This is a loud guitar. Yeah, it does go to 11. It goes to 10 too, but isn't that cool? Time to put strings on this. Welcome back. Throwing strings on this bad boy. I gotta check my ear again. I don't have a tuner. Here's my tuner. It's not on. I don't have a clue where this guitar is tuned. By ear, I'm right where I was the other day when I put the strings on the Taylor. I've been doing this too long. Guitar sounds great. However, I was kind of winding around on this thing, checking for fret buzz and things like that. I think what's happened on this guitar, I think some fret work has been done on the nut. I think some filing has been done. I'm not certain. Or the saddle has been altered. I did take about a 32nd of an inch off this saddle because the string action was just way too high. I have perfect 12 thousandths of an inch neck relief here at the 5th fret. Everything is perfect except I'm going to turn the pickup off and oh boy. And right there it clears up. The terrible fret buzz right up in this area. It kind of clears up. So in this neck of the woods we've got some fret buzz, so we need to take care of that. You may wonder why I do this with the guitar when I work on them. Why not get that stuff out of your way? This is the exact reason. I will follow this video up with the level job that I do on this. I'm gonna put this one away. I've got to go into work and do some guitar lessons.